back to another Let's Talk Tuesday. Wow. I hope you guys have been enjoying the Let's Talk that I've been putting out so far. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's video on priorities part 2. So this week, honestly, when I was speaking about priorities, it just came to my mind. I was like, Shani, why don't you speak about peer pressure? Because honestly, the whole reason I created this channel is to create individuals that know how to handle peer pressure, because honestly, if you have confidence in yourself, if you know the real you, if you are assertive, if you exhibit a leadership and all these qualities that I've been speaking about since the start of my channel, it is honestly to overcome peer pressure, because I know that this is rampant, not only in the teenage range of life, but it's also there in college, in adulthood, in the work life. Peer pressure is everywhere, right? And what's better to do than to talk about how to combat peer pressure? So this week, as you can tell from the title, we are going to be talking about peer pressure. And I have 20 tips, because I was searching. I was like, okay, some of these tips are so broad and everything, but then I found this list and it's actually to the point, but it's 20 points. So of course it's going to be part 1 this week and part 2 next week. So I hope you guys stay tuned, and let's combat peer pressure together, and teach our younger generation that they can also combat peer pressure, because trust me, it's real. Okay, so the first thing, let's jump right into it, guys. The first thing that is on this list is to ask 101 questions. That's how they phrased it, right? And it's simply saying, if you want to combat peer pressure, someone asks you to do something that you think is not necessarily morally good, or something that you don't want to do, simply ask them, why should I do it? If they don't have a good reason for you to do it, then why would you follow them and do it? You know, it's all about creating leadership within yourself, like being a leader, because no one can tell you what to do unless you choose to follow them, right? So be that confident in yourself. And if someone comes to you with a proposition, you need to question, okay, how is this proposition beneficial to me? If someone says, okay, let's go and jump off a cliff, are you going to jump off the cliff? No, because of course you're more than likely going to lose your life. So you question, why do you think that's a good decision if someone comes to you with that, right? The next thing is, let's say they say, oh, let's go smoke. If you know that smoking is bad, you question, why should I smoke? And if they don't give a good reason, which I'm pretty sure there is absolutely no good reason to go and smoke, then you'll be like, no, it's okay, I don't want to do that. Just question things. Let them wonder why, because you know you have a lot of demanding people in life, and some people are demanding in the good way, some people are demanding in the bad way. Of course, you have good and bad leaders, right? And if it is that they are saying, go and do this, and it's not something that is beneficial to you or will progress you in life, question why and be able to say no. And that is going into point number 2. Say no like you mean it. Say no like you mean it. It actually ties well to being assertive, guys. Being assertive. And I'm actually going to put 2 together, so that's now 19 points, right? Number 5, I'm skipping a point. It says practice saying no, right? So say no like you mean it, and practice saying no. Because if it is that someone comes to you and they're like, oh, come, let's go steal or go rob a bank. I'm just giving a hypothetical scenario, okay? Not that it's impossible, but right now it's just a hypothetical scenario. If someone says, let's go rob a bank, be able to say, no, are you crazy? Like, seriously, that's not something that's in my priorities, right? That's not something that I hold dear to. So, no, I'm not going to do that. And there's nothing you can do or say that will convince me to follow you and do this thing, right? So, say no like you mean it, and practice say no. I'll put that as number 3. Now, I'll go more into the practice saying no. And that is, guys, I've told you already in my assertiveness video how I practice to say no from a very early age in my teens, right? And that was regardless of whatever my family told me to do. I just literally told them no. I did it. Let's get that clear. If my mother said, Shani, go and wash the dishes, I'd be feisty and I'd be like, no. And she'd look at me and I'd run and go and wash the dishes. But little did they know that I was practicing to say no, right? I didn't care who it was. I was just practicing to say no. Because when the real situation came and I had to face people who were older than me or people who were in higher ranking than I was able to now say, no, regardless, I don't care how old you are, what you're doing right now is not good. And what you're asking me to do is also not favorable. So I'm going to tell you no. And it's just the practice that I was doing from a very early age that made me, caused me to be able to say no with such resilience, right? So practice saying no. Again, my tip was, and I'll say it again, say no to everything. Say no, but if it is that is something that will benefit you, like, or something that will respect your parents and what they're asking you to do, if it's something that is a good deed, like doing your chores, please say no, but also go and do it. Don't be rude, say no and sit down. That's disrespectful, right? Because as I clearly said, let's say it one more time, I said no, but I did it anyway, and that was to my family, okay? But when it came to strangers, I was able to say no and not do it if I didn't see their proposition as favorable. So what did we go through just now, guys? We went through asking questions, being able to say no like you mean it, and practice to say no. So the next one is say no with a positive statement. So it says positive statement, but when I was reading it, guys, it said, I think it's more like a feisty statement because they gave this example to say a friend of yours would have asked you if you would like to smoke some weed, and the person said that you should respond by saying, no, I would like to have my brain intact. I would think that that's a bit feisty. It's a bit funny as well. So yeah, back up your no statement with something positive. And honestly, in those moments, you'd never know what those sentences, feisty, sarcastic statements would do for someone who is yielding to peer pressure. Because if they can see you stand up against it, trust me, it can definitely motivate them to stand up against it and also be able to say no, and do it also with a positive statement / feisty statement. So the next one is be repetitive. Practice makes perfect, and of course, if you're practicing something, you're repeating it, right? So if someone comes to you the first time, it's basically how the devil works with us with temptations, you know? The first time we think that, okay, yes, we can handle it, and we say no to the temptation. But then, of course, the devil knows that, okay, he's not going to just try one more. He's not going to try only once, right? And that's how he works in our friends or people who we look up to or people who he believes that has an influence on us. If it is that this person comes to you once and say, okay, let's go smoke, and you're able to say no, good job, you were able to say no. But the next time, if they come and say, okay, all right, fine, maybe you never ready them time there. No, let's go smoke. Be able to be like, so you think me did a joke the first time? You think me did a joke the first time? I said no and I meant it, and it doesn't matter how many times you ask me to go and do this thing, I am just going to say no. I mean it. I'm not going to do it. And stand your ground, okay? So be repetitive, because they will be, when it comes to peer pressure, guys, and bullying, bullies don't know how to handle no. So unless you are firm and you stand up and say, I'm really not going to do that, they will keep trying until they realize, oh, he or she really won't do what I'm trying to get them to do. So be repetitive with the fact that you are telling them no, okay? Because trust me, they will be repetitive with the fact that they want you to do something that's not favorable for you. Okay, so the next one is get away from the peer pressure zone. Simple. It sounds simple. Okay, for Shanique, it's pretty simple. If I know that if I go across the hall, I'm going to get burnt, I'm definitely not going across the hall, right? But I know that it's a struggle for some people that and we're going to talk about those points later down in the video. And I think it stems from not knowing how to be alone and be content with yourself. Staying away from pressure zones or areas where okay, guys, if I'm here, I know that I will be vulnerable to peer pressure and I'll definitely give in to it, right? Stay away from those areas. If you know that if you are an alcoholic, don't go to the bar, don't go around your friends, don't go around people who are going to be constantly drinking. That makes absolutely no sense, right? And then you'll be like, but they're my friends. Okay. As I just said, be content with yourself, that you can stay alone and be happy, okay? But if it is that your friends are drinking, okay, I'm pretty sure they're not drinking 24/7. You can be around them at that point where they're not drinking. I'm trying to give some kind of possible cause that in reality could happen, right? Since you would have claimed that these people are your friends. And I actually have friends like that, where they do things that I'm not necessarily into. I let them live their life, but they know not to come around me with certain things, and I understand that, honestly. So guys, choose when to be around your friends. If it is that these people are so close to you, if you know that they're going to the bar, you don't have to go with them. I'm pretty sure if they are your friends, they'll choose other activities where they don't need to put you in a pressure zone, right? So yeah, avoid pressure zones. And if you're a Christian, it's similar to the Bible verse that says, flee youthful lust. Okay, so the next one is avoid stressful situations in the first place. So actually, I believe it's the same thing. Avoid going to those areas where you will be vulnerable and you may very well yield to the temptation of peer pressure, right? So just simply avoid, and we'll move on. So those ones are actually tied together. So the next one is use the buddy system. So that basically saying get good friends that are able to tell you, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Get an accountability partner, someone that will back you up if it is that you are yielding to the pressure. They're able to stand for you and defend you and take you out of that pressure zone, right? Find people like that, and trust me, if you find people like that, you would have definitely won a gem, right? So the next and final one for this part one, guys, is confront the leader of the pack. I should do a video on confrontation because, trust me, it is necessary. It is necessary in life if you're going to be a leader. If it's necessary in life if you want to have peace of mind. It's necessary in life if you want to overcome peer pressure. Being able to confront is a serious skill. I will call it skill that one needs to learn, and I should do a video on that, and it will come soon in the lineage of my videos, right? Yes, guys, be able to confront whoever is pressuring you, and tell them, listen, I don't feel comfortable with you doing this, and I keep telling you no, and you seem not to listen. Be able to confront, and if they yield in the sense that they listen to you, they respect you, they're able to stop what they're doing in your regard. So said, so done. That is great. That is excellent. If not, be able to read this and not be manipulated, and walk away from that person or that situation, and be able to tell others about it, because some people go as far as getting physical if it is that you confront them. So be able to protect yourself in the sense that you alert other individuals, parents, police, if it's that worst of a scenario, friends, officials if needed, about situations, so that you don't, in confronting, you are also protected, okay? And I know that in certain countries, I would say similar to mine, my little island of Jamaica, not that it's bad overall, but we do have cases where people threaten people to the point of death, and I understand why some people do quiver under the pressure because of the fear of life. I think it's just a matter of learning how to be smart with protecting yourself in that regard, honestly. So yeah, I will continue part 2 next week, guys. But honestly, if it's a case where your life is not being threatened, please do exercise these tips so that you can build your confidence, and you can definitely break that cycle of peer pressure that is in our society today. You are not too young to combat peer pressure, and if it is that you are even old and you think, okay, it makes no sense to fight it, listen, it doesn't matter what age you are. If it is that you're being pressured, be able to talk up about it and to stop it, because if you don't talk up about it, then we will have this never-ending cycle, right? So yes, that was tip 10, and we will continue next week, guys. I hope you guys have a great week. I hope these tips were helpful. And if you have a teenager near you, guys, please do not hesitate to share this video, because I'm pretty sure in high schools right now, many of our children are dealing with this, and they also need to know how to combat peer pressure. Okay, so I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.